for people who don't know, we're throwing around a lot of terms, right? Like, can you jump through? And you probably know more than I do. I'm I'm an amateur compared to you, Will. But can we go through
Appreciate
CAC and
that.
ROAS and kind of just break down some of these terms real quick so people know what we're
Yeah.
talking
So
about?
let's start with ROAS actually, because a lot of marketers chase ROAS when they're running ads. So they'll say like, "Oh, this ad or this campaign's getting a 2.5x." The thing about ROAS is that ROAS fluctuates based on user experience, right? So if you've got $150 products on your website and you've got $15 products on your website, guess what? Your ability to create control and stability is not going to happen, right? So we could go into a whole we could do an hour-long special on just that, but and maybe we should, but
I'm
what
in.
ROAS, yeah, ROAS is a calculation of 4 key data points. And so the reason most people can't figure out why the ROAS, let's just even say 2x is a good ROI. If
Yep.
you were to put $100 into the stock market, you'd be happy as shit that you made 200. Sorry if I dropped the curse word, and
No,
you
yeah.
might have to delete that out. I'm
No, no.
just being myself. Um, but like, I try to get people to think of their advertising like how they approach the stock market. Like some people day trade and other people invest. Even the people who are trying to make money from the stock market, they buy the Apple stock like I did in 2010, and I keep buying every time it goes down, because by the time I'm about to cash that out, my return is going to be substantial, right?
Right.
And so, when you look at ROAS, it's calculated by 4 key data points: CPM, um, conversion rate, AOV, and CPC. Right. So ROAS is the result of 4 other things that you have the ability to control.
Yep.
And so when you're chasing return on ad spend and you have products on your website that are $120, the reason that your ROAS is fluctuating is because your AOV is fluctuating. And the reason that your AOV is fluctuating is because your conversion rate is fluctuating. And the reason that your ROAS is fluctuating is because depending on who you're targeting and how good your ad creative is, your CPM and your CPC are going to fluctuate, which then also impacts your ROAS, right?
Yeah.
So most people are like, "Oh, I put in ad creative, I target the health and wellness audience because my supplement brand, fits with that." And then it's like, "Oh, how come I'm not able to get a 5x?" Well, it's like, dude, you know how many people are advertising supplements to health and
Right.
wellness brands or health and wellness affinity audiences?
It's driving up that. Yeah. Yeah.
So
The
it's driving up the
CPM, the
cost,
CPC. Yep.
CPM. So that's ROAS. Return on ads, I just went super like probably too advanced on that, but
No, that
return
was
on
great. I've
ads.
never heard it explained like that. That was awesome.
Oh, cool. I have a mathematical calculation spreadsheet on how to forecast all that stuff too, by the way. We could drop that in the show notes. If anybody
That'd be
wants it,
awesome. That'd be
drop it in
awesome.
the show notes. It's called the ad ROI calculator. Um, so anyways, like if let's just jump on that real quick and then I'll jump back to CAC. If
Yeah.
you were thinking about launching a product, the best thing that you should do is use the ad ROI calculator first to form your own expectations. Because like if you come to me and
Beautiful.
you're like, "Yo, Will, I want a 5x ROAS," I'm gonna be like, mathematical formula, not possible. This is what it would be to make it possible. Instead of running a $100 product, run $1,000 product and convert 1% of them, and you'll get a 5x return on ad spend, right? But when you try to force square peg into round hole, and then you're spinning your wheels for 3 years on why you can't get it to work, well, it was never going to work in the first place. And that's where
Right.
guys like me, the top 1%ers, I'll put myself in that category, who we know
Yeah.
where it's going to go before it ever even gets started. Use the ad ROI calc and you'll save yourself a heck of a lot of time, effort, energy, and money and mental strain before you ever even
Right.
launch something. And then CAC is that cost per acquisition. Some people call it cost to acquire a customer. That's actual CAC. Or CPA, cost per acquisition. Some people call it CPP, cost per purchase, if you're really looking at it from an ads perspective. So yeah, that cost per acquisition is a calculation of conversion rate, cost per click, and CPM. So if you want your cost per acquisition to come down, just convert more of the traffic that you're already buying. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
So if
that's
you're getting,
pre-sale, and then there's post-sale. There's
yeah,
upsells. There's AOV, boosting AOV. That can change the
yes,
game for you too, right?
100%.
So
Absolutely.
there's so many levers where if somebody goes and contacts you and goes, this doesn't work. I've got this $50
Yeah,
product, and you look at their funnel and you go, no, this will work, and here's what you need to do, and here's what you've got wrong. And I'm sure there's all throughout the funnel issues, right? Your creative
100%.
sucks. You don't have a compelling offer. Can you talk to like, I mean, you've got a million case studies, right? Like stupid stuff that people got wrong where they're
Yeah.
blowing budgets, and you made some minor tweaks. Like, what did you do? What were the results?
Yeah, I mean, back, I would say maybe a couple years ago, we used to love what we called takeovers, where we would just, acquire some data, overhaul the funnel, and, just get it rocking and rolling. And by what I mean by overhauling the funnel is usually going with a strategy that we call a closed loop funnel. So instead of that Shopify website experience where you've got 20 products, some are $15, others are 100, I'm trying to create consistent cost structure, CPA, around one product through a closed loop funnel, meaning you can't get anywhere else on the website, you can't view any other products, etc. And if I can get that acquisition product to convert anywhere between 2 and 5%, I have a whole strategy structure and things of how we create those high converting landing pages. That's what we would do. We would go overall where we're running traffic to, increase conversion through a CRO based strategy, create more consistent cost structure around that, if you want to call it a hero product or an acquisition offer, and then let the back end do the rest of the work. Scale the spend up because now we have a more consistent ROAS, conversion rate, and cost per acquisition. And that's what we would do. And we would do that on offers, less than $100 and, things like that. But truthfully, I won't even touch a ecom brand with an AOV of less than really $75 to $100 nowadays. Like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it for us because,
Really?
yeah, no, it's pointless. Unless they have, and here's why. Add ROI calc. I'll do a quick calculation for you real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
If your CPM is, let's say your CPM is $15, and I run through this a lot. I hope that I get this right and I don't misspeak. If your CPM is $15, which is the average CPM now for all advertisers across Facebook, that includes brand awareness campaigns, by the way.
Really?
This is what WordStream reports. So WordStream is the data source for
Yep.
2020. I think it's 2022 data. It could be 2021, the 2022 report based on 2021. So $15 CPM. Let's say that you're getting a 1% click-through rate, above average. Let's say that
Right.
you're getting a 2% conversion rate, average Shopify conversion rate, and a $75 AOV. If my math is not mistaken, I believe that puts you at a 1x return on ad spend. And so we just
Wow.
used industry averages, and I could be slightly off. I haven't run that without looking at my sheet in probably a couple months. But long story short, based on industry average KPIs for click-through rate, conversion rate, and CPM, you're not getting to a 3 to 5x return anytime freaking soon at less than $100 AOV. Right?
This
So
is
why would I
probably
even take
shocking
that
for
on?
people. Yeah,
Yeah, why
right.
would I
It's a
take that
losing.
on?
You're
It's a
talking
losing
AOV though. This is
proposition.
not LTV. This is just AOV
Correct.
on the initial. Oh
Correct.
my gosh.
Yeah.
That's why it's a bloodbath. And like nobody's really talking about this, but a lot of these private equity firms, even some of the Amazon aggregators who have gone out with this
Yep.
acquire and built this huge, massive entity of different corporations and brands. And you're seeing them, everybody's gotten quiet about it because a lot of them are going out of business or they're trying to
Yep.
fire sell them. And people who
Yep.
look at them, they're going, with this EBITDA and this revenue, we're not going to pay a 3 to 5x.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll give you a 1x. It's just
so, especially for you and I, like CMO types, right? Us knowing that ad ROI calculation is probably the best thing that we could consult and provide to an ecom business. Because if
Oh,
we're
for sure.
thinking about launching a new offer, or if we're thinking about where we need to make adjustments to the business model, you would approach it so much differently. And that's where the conversation then becomes how to build a bulletproof acquisition funnel or offer for paid traffic, right? Because now that you know that an AOV, we can slice it and dice it however we want, but an AOV, the majority of the time of less than $100 is not going to be profitable for you. You're going to be like, pump the brakes. We need to approach our acquisition completely differently, right?
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. The brands that are winning have like $200 AOVs and stuff, or they have subscription offers, or they have, high ticket like info style coaching programs and stuff like that. Those are the ones that are doing very well through ads.